Picture this: a quiet evening in a home filled with laughter and love, suddenly torn apart by a single heartbreaking discovery. My name is Anna, and this is the story of how the man I trusted with my entire world shattered that trust into irreparable pieces. But wait, what if that very betrayal became the fuel for a comeback so clever, so perfectly timed, that it left him utterly speechless and regretting every lie he ever told? Hold on tight, because this tale is packed with suspense, heartache, and a twist of justice that will make you cheer. Let's dive in step by step and feel the emotions build. It all began on what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday. I was in our cozy apartment, the one we decorated together with photos of our adventures and soft blankets from our first road trip. Alex, my husband of 4 years, was supposed to be at work late again. Client meetings, he always said with that charming smile of his. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? We'd built our life on trust, or so I thought. That night, I decided to surprise him with his favorite homemade lasagna. As I waited for him to come home, his phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. He left it behind by accident, something he never did. Curiosity got the better of me. Just a quick glance, I told myself. But what I saw froze me in place. Messages from S, dozens of them. Can't wait to see you tonight, one read. Last time was amazing. My heart pounded as I scrolled, each word a dagger. Photos too, intimate ones, in places I recognized from his business trips. Who was S? My mind raced, but deep down I knew. Sarah, my best friend since college, the one I'd introduced to Alex at a party 2 years ago. They were laughing in those pictures, arms around each other, while I was home alone, oblivious. The door opened, and there he was, looking tired but innocent. "Hey, babe," he said, kissing my cheek. I couldn't speak. Tears welled up as I held up the phone. "Explain this." His face went white, like he'd seen a ghost. Stammering, he tried to lie. "It's not what it looks like." But the evidence was right there, undeniable. The argument that followed was raw, full of anger and sadness. "How could you?" I screamed, my voice breaking. He admitted it then. Months of sneaking around, lies upon lies. Sarah knew everything about us. She'd been my confidant, sharing my secrets while stealing my husband. That night, I kicked him out, the door slamming like the end of an era. Alone in the silence, I collapsed on the floor, sobbing. The shock was overwhelming. Betrayal from not one, but 2 people I loved. Questions swirled. How long had this been going on? Why me? What did I do wrong? But amid the pain, a spark ignited. This wasn't just hurt. It was injustice. They thought they could break me and walk away unscathed. Oh no. I wiped my tears and whispered to myself, this isn't over. Little did they know, the woman they underestimated was about to plan something that would change everything. What would you do in my shoes? Would you forgive or fight back? As the night wore on, my mind shifted from victim to strategist. The next days were a blur of emotions. I called in sick to work, unable to face anyone. My sister came over holding me as I poured out the story. "You deserve better, Anna," she said, her voice full of empathy. But better wasn't enough. I wanted justice. I started gathering more proof, checking our shared accounts, finding receipts for dinners and hotels I hadn't been to. Each discovery fueled my anger, turning sadness into resolve. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It extended to our shared dreams. Alex had been using my ideas from my freelance writing gig stories I'd shared with him to impress Sarah, who worked in publishing. They'd even pitched one of my plots as their own to her company, passing it off as their brilliance. As I sat there staring at the evidence, the idea for revenge began to form. It had to be clever, not rash. Something that would expose them without making me look bitter or petty. But how? The suspense of planning kept me going. A lifeline in the darkness? To truly feel the weight of this betrayal, let's go back to how it all started. Alex and I met in a small bookstore downtown, both reaching for the same mystery novel. He was tall, with kind eyes and a laugh that made my day brighter. We were in our mid-20s, full of ambition. I was building my career as a freelance writer, crafting emotional stories for magazines and blogs. Alex was in sales, always closing deals with his smooth talk. Our first date was magic, a picnic in the park, sharing dreams under the stars. "You're the one," he said, and I believed him. We dated for 2 years before he proposed on a beach at sunset. The wedding was intimate, with friends and family toasting our future. We moved into our apartment, filling it with books, plants, and memories. A life was good. I'd write during the day, inspired by our love, while Alex worked hard to provide. Weekends were for adventures, hiking trails, trying new restaurants. We talked for hours about starting a family, buying a house. Trust was everything. I shared my deepest fears and joys with him. Sarah came into the picture through me. We reconnected at a writing workshop. She was an editor now, sharp and supportive. You two would get along, I told Alex, inviting her over for dinner. They did, too well, perhaps. She became part of our circle, joining us for game nights and holidays. I confided in her about my writing struggles, my ideas for a novel about betrayal. Ironic, right? Alex seemed happy, but looking back, there were signs. He'd compliment Sarah more, linger in conversations with her. I thought it was harmless, a sign of friendship. As time passed, our life hit minor bumps. Alex's job got demanding with longer hours. "It's for us," he'd say, hugging me. I'd nod, focusing on my work. One big project was a series of short stories on relationships, full of twists. I bounced ideas off Alex. He loved them, suggesting tweaks. Sarah, too. I'd email her drafts for feedback. They both encouraged me, or so it seemed. But cracks appeared. Alex became distant, his phone always in hand. "Work stuff," he'd mutter. I'd feel a twinge of doubt, but push it away. Trust, remember? Then came the small lies. Forgotten plans, unexplained absences. One night, he came home smelling of perfume that wasn't mine. "Colleagues," he claimed. I bought it, not wanting to rock the boat. The setup was perfect for their deception. They used my openness against me. Sarah would visit when Alex was home, their glances lingering. I missed it all, blinded by love. The emotional build was subtle, happiness mixed with unease. What if those little doubts were warnings? Now, with our life set up like a fairy tale, the conflict started creeping in like shadows at dusk. Alex's late nights became routine. "Big project," he'd say, collapsing into bed, exhausted. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, a knot in my stomach. Was it paranoia or intuition? I tried talking to him. We need more time together. He'd agree, plan a date, then cancel. Sadness settled in. I missed the man I married. At work, my writing suffered. Ideas flowed less freely, blocked by worry. Sarah noticed during our lunch meets. "Everything okay with Alex?" she'd ask, eyes full of concern. I'd confide a bit, not suspecting her role. "He's just stressed." She'd nod, offering advice. Little did I know, she was the stress relief. The deceptions piled up. I found a receipt in his pocket for a necklace I never received. Gift for a client, he claimed. Doubt grew. One weekend, he said he was on a business trip. I called his hotel, no reservation under his name. Panic set in. When he returned, I confronted him gently. Where were you really? He got defensive. Why don't you trust me? The gaslighting began, making me question my sanity. Emotional triggers hit hard. Anger at his lies, sadness for our fading bond. I cried in the shower, hiding tears from him. My sister urged me to investigate. Protect yourself. So I did, checking his browser history. Searches for romantic getaways, not with me. The conflict peaked when I overheard a phone call. Hiding in the hallway, I heard him whisper, I love you too, Sarah. Soon we'll be together. Shock paralyzed me. Betrayal confirmed, but I needed more. I played along, smiling through the pain, gathering evidence. The tension was palpable. Every conversation, a minefield. How was your day? I'd ask, voice steady, while inside I raged. He sensed nothing, or so I thought. This conflict built suspense, leaving me on edge. The betrayal hit like a storm, tearing through my world. After overhearing that call, I confronted Alex the next day. I know about Sarah. His face crumpled. No denial this time. It just happened, he said, tears flowing. I didn't mean to hurt you. But intentions didn't matter. The damage was done. Details spilled out. It started 6 months ago, a fling that turned serious. Sarah encouraged it, saying I was holding him back. They met in secret, using my trust as cover. Worse, they'd stolen my story ideas. Sarah pitched my novel concept to her publisher, with Alex's help on the pitch. Your ideas, their glory, my sister said when I told her. Sadness overwhelmed me. Years of love erased. Anger followed, hot and fierce. How could you both do this? I yelled. He begged for forgiveness, but I was done. Sarah's turn came at work. I met her in her office, voice low. I trusted you. She cried, apologizing. He pursued me. Lies. I walked out, heart shattered, but eyes open. The emotional fallout was intense. Shock, grief, rage. I moved out temporarily, staying with my sister. Nights were long, full of what-ifs. But in that darkness, revenge whispered. They broke me. I'd expose them. The plan? Use my writing to craft a public reveal, a blog post disguised as fiction, but with real details that only they would recognize, shared at a writing conference they both attended. Suspense built as I wrote, heart racing. What if it backfired? No, justice demanded it. With the betrayal laid bare, I channeled pain into planning. Revenge had to be smart, not destructive. I spent weeks brainstorming, my notebook filling with ideas. The goal? Leave them speechless, their careers and relationship in tatters. I decided on a multi-step plan. First, document everything. Emails, texts, proof of their theft. Then, at the annual writing conference, where Sarah was speaking and Alex attending, I'd accidentally leak a story. My piece would mirror their affair, with names changed but details exact. I'd read it aloud in a workshop, watching their faces as recognition hit. To amplify it, I'd send anonymous tips to the publisher about plagiarism, pointing to my original drafts. Clever? Not direct. The emotional work was hard, reliving the hurt to write the story. Anger fueled me, sadness motivated precision. My sister helped refine the plan. Make it undeniable, she said. We tested scenarios, building suspense. Alex called, pleading for a second chance. I ignored him, letting him stew in uncertainty. The plan was set, and my nerves tingled with anticipation. They thought they'd won. Soon, they'd lose everything. As the conference neared, tension mounted like a storm brewing. I rehearsed my story, voice steady despite the butterflies in my stomach. Alex and Sarah were oblivious, posting happy photos online, their arms around each other. It stung, but it strengthened my resolve. I arrived early at the conference, heart pounding as I walked through the bustling hall. Writers networked, laughter echoing off the high ceilings adorned with chandeliers. I chatted with old friends, hiding my turmoil behind a smile. Alex approached me at one point. "Anna, you look great. Can we talk later?" His eyes pleaded, searching for forgiveness. "Maybe later," I said, keeping my tone vague, letting the cliffhanger linger in his hope. Sarah spoke first that day, standing confidently on stage, presenting her innovative ideas, my ideas. As she finished to applause, my turn came in the workshop session. The room was packed, the air thick with anticipation. What if they recognized the story too soon? What if I froze? No turning back now. I took a deep breath and began. The workshop room hushed as I read. In this story, a writer is betrayed by her husband and best friend. I described their affair in vivid detail. Dates at hidden cafes, stolen moments during work trips, even the necklace he bought her. The characters had different names, but the specifics were unmistakable. Gasps rose from the audience. Alex and Sarah sat near the front, their faces paling as the words hit. Midway through, I revealed proof. With a click, I projected emails onto the screen, anonymized but damning, showing Sarah's pitch with my original drafts attached. The room erupted. "Plagiarism!" someone shouted. Sarah stammered from her seat. "This is fiction." But the crowd saw through it, whispers spreading like wildfire. Alex stood, mouth open, utterly speechless. Publisher representatives in the audience demanded explanations, their faces stern. Humiliation washed over them as colleagues turned away, shaking their heads. They fled the room amid the chaos, chased by murmurs of disapproval. Relief flooded me. Justice had been served. Shock turned to triumph as friends approached, offering support. "You were so brave," one said. Alex's eyes met mine briefly as he left. Regret and defeat clear in his gaze. Sarah broke down in tears, her confident facade crumbling. I felt a mix of power and pity, but no regret. The climax was everything I'd planned. After the chaos, the fallout was swift. The publisher investigated, firing Sarah for plagiarism after confirming my drafts predated hers. Alex lost clients, his reputation in sales tarnished by association. I filed for divorce, and it was finalized quickly. I kept the apartment, a fresh start. I rebuilt my life step by step. I moved to a new city, landing writing gigs that let my creativity soar. Therapy helped heal the wounds, though sadness lingered like a faint scar. New friends filled my days with laughter, and I published my own novel, a story of resilience, not betrayal. Alex messaged me once, broken. "You destroyed us." I replied simply, "You broke me first." That was my closure. Peace came slowly, but it came. In the end, this betrayal taught me the fragility of trust, but also its power when given to the right people. Revenge brought justice, but healing came from within. The moral? Guard your heart, but don't let betrayal define you. Rise from the ashes, learn, and thrive. What lessons have you learned from heartache? This story shows the power of resilience, the strength to turn pain into purpose. Thank you for listening to my journey. Now, go out and write your own comeback story.